In 1938, in a tiny South Korean town, a man started a business selling dried fish and noodles. Sounds unimpressive, right? But what if I told you that this small business would one day crush Apple, defeat Sony, and dominate the global tech industry? This is the insane rise of Samsung, the company that went from selling fish to selling the future. The man behind it all? Lee Byung-chul. He started Samsung as a simple trading company, selling groceries. No tech, no smartphones, not even electronics. But then everything changed. Korea was devastated by war. The country was in ruins. But Lee saw an opportunity. The world was shifting towards technology, and he wanted in. So, in 1969, Samsung did something insane. They launched their first electronic product, a black and white TV. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was just the beginning. For decades, Samsung was called a copycat. They copied Sony, they copied Apple, they copied everyone. And honestly, they weren't even ashamed of it. But then, something unexpected happened. The iPhone was dominating the smartphone market. Samsung, still playing catch-up. Then Samsung dropped a bombshell. They launched the Galaxy S. And for the first time, Apple had a real competitor. Bigger screens, better customization, a serious threat to Apple's empire, and the battle was just getting started. Samsung knew they couldn't just copy. They had to outthink Apple. So, while Apple focused on one iPhone per year, Samsung flooded the market. Low-end phones, mid-range phones, high-end flagships, they made something for everyone, and it worked. By 2012, Samsung overtook Apple as the world's biggest smartphone company. Apple wasn't happy. They sued Samsung for $1 billion, accusing them of stealing designs. But here's the twist. Samsung didn't just beat Apple in sales. They had a secret weapon. Samsung wasn't just a phone company. They were making processors, screens, batteries. Even Apple's iPhones used Samsung parts. That's right. Apple was paying Samsung to make iPhones. So, no matter who won the lawsuit, Samsung still made money. But then, disaster struck in 2016. The Galaxy Note 7 phones started exploding.
Well, it's now against federal law to bring a Galaxy Note 7 on an airplane. The mandate comes after reports of battery fires on the phones, explosions, and a massive recall. Samsung even going as far as to discontinue the product.
The company lost $5 billion overnight. Everyone thought this was the end of Samsung. But then, they did the unthinkable. Instead of hiding, Samsung went all in. They spent $3 billion on research to make sure their next phone was the safest in the world. And when the Galaxy S8 dropped, it shattered sales records. Samsung was back. Today, Samsung is more than just phones. They build TVs, laptops, chips, appliances, and even military tech. They've invested billions into AI, robotics, and quantum computing. And while Apple still dominates in branding, Samsung dominates in scale. The company that once copied is now the company everyone is trying to catch up to. Samsung's story isn't about luck. It's about relentless ambition. And if there's one thing we can learn from them, it's that sometimes being a copycat can make you the king.